Hey YouTube, Mike the Rinnai guy here. How we all doing today? I hope you all had a safe and productive week, and happy Easter and happy holiday to all. Alright, I have to make this statement first before we start excuse me, on the video. I just want to let it be known, I do not work for Rinnai. Rinnai does not sponsor this channel. I do not get paid by Rinnai. I don't even make AdSense. Notice that when you watch my videos, there's no ads. So I do not get AdSense from YouTube like I do on my other channel, because it's named The Rinnai Guy. So everything that I do as a licensed plumber that owns a business is strictly through my company, Economy Plumbing and Gas Services. I don't do this channel to push out my business. I do it just like for those that listened to my first podcast. I do it to help you. So again, I do not work for Rinnai. Even though my shirt front and back says Rinnai, I am affiliated with them. And so are a few thousand other plumbers in the world. We are trained. They have our insurance. We become level 3 trained, and I am what is known as an ACE Pro. So I'm on the website as a pro, find a pro. So if somebody in my area wants a tankless or needs service, they either call Rinnai or they go on Rinnai.us and they find me. And that's the only thing that I am connected with Rinnai with, and that I, of course, install their product. So, okay. That said, today's video is going to be on isolation valves. I do get a lot of questions, not so much like where, it's more questions on like all the different types of valve kits, and there are dozens of them. And I have found a few that are very good. And pretty much all of the ones that Rinnai uses are very good. Now, they did have a Webstone valve kit that, unless you service them, and I'm going to show you this valve kit and what's inside of it. Unless you service it, these Webstone kit. So this is the cold water. Now again, both handles were yellow, and the only way you can distinguish them was, of course, the hot always has the relief valve on it. It was the service port red and blue handle. So we'll get into that in 1 second. All right, why a valve kit? Now, on pretty much, I would say 80% of Rinnai units, all of the RLs, all of the RURs, or everything that's silver, you get a valve kit inside, wrapped in plastic, a hot, a cold, a hot, a relief valve, in the box, in the styrofoam, and that's what you use on the unit. But on the V series, they do not send a valve kit. So when plumbers install them, they have to supply a valve kit. Now, valve kits could run up to about $150 for, you know, this box. So the whole valve kit, hot, cold, relief, could go up to about 150 bucks. But you can get them as low as $40. And what I tell the plumbers that I train and on the channel is try to get a valve kit around $75, $80. Or a little better if you're going to put a V series. But if you add the price of the V series and then a good valve kit, you're almost at, so just say you got a V75 and you're going to buy a valve kit. Well, for a couple of dollars more, you have an RL75 and you got a very good valve kit. I'm going to show you the valve kits that most likely you will get in the RL series. And then I'm going to show you the valve kit that you're going to get in the RUR series. But let me show you this valve kit first. This was a very popular valve kit. It was in Rinnai's box, and it was also supplied by the plumbers. And Webstone makes a very good product, but in especially our area, Florida, very hard water. And I call this the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit valve kit, because that's what my son does when we walk up to one of these to do a service on it, and they have those handles, these T handles. Now, this valve kit does work. It is a valve kit that we took off of an interior unit. Someone had it marked, hot water out, cold water in. It was marked, and it was a couple of them, and we had one that was bad, so we swapped it out with a newer unit. And the valve kit does work, but with this valve kit, it had a stainless steel ball in it, but the rod was metal, so the stem was metal. And there's three things that this thing would do. Either work, or shut off and break in the off position so you could not turn it back on after you serviced it, or break when it was on and we turned it off, the whole handle would break off. Either water would just be dripping out, or we had them where it was spraying out. So the entire stem came out, and now the water was just bypassing and spraying. So, like I said, we say a prayer when we walk up to these. And that's another reason that I say to you is ask the customer the history of the service of the tankless, because that'll tell you also the age of it. That'll also tell you, you know, how good this type of valve kit is. So it's again, it's a good company, it's a good valve kit. But if you have hard water and you know what you have working in your area, the chances of, if they didn't have the yearly service on this, you will have it most likely either not shut off or break on you. And here is, let me grab both of them. All right, here's the cold water, not so bad, right? Here's the hot water. Look at that. That is calcium and lime buildup because of lack of service. So cold water is not so bad because cold water will flow through. But hot water is going to sit there when it doesn't move like this, and that's where it builds up because of the change in the molecules when you heated water. That's why the hot. And I mean, I can't even get my finger in there. It's that calcified. And then you could see how white the ball is. Okay, so just be careful with this valve kit. And you're not going to find this in a Rinnai unless you happen to get your hands on a very old Rinnai, like an R series. You won't find this valve kit. Okay, now, I have two valve kits here. This is an Easyflex valve kit, which is probably around an $80 to $90 valve kit. And as you can see, it's got the smaller handle, full stainless steel ball with a full stainless steel shaft in there, and there's a very small, it's a very small stem. And then, of course, your service port for cold. Then your hot. And then it comes with a relief valve. Now, again, all the model numbers, names, description below. Now, on this unit, it has the union half. It's going to same, so we don't have to go through the whole thing with the hot water. It's got the union half. So this part would be going up into the cold water side of the tank of the Rinnai. But this one here, the washer is set into a recess. So if you're like doing something like, say you have to pull the water inlet pipe off because the filter won't come out, or you got to do something with the water servo valve, the chances of you losing this washer because it's sitting in a groove like an O-ring in a recess. And then once you make up your adapter, you would then make this up into the unit. Now, here is an actual Rinnai isolation valve kit. Look at the now the difference here. Look at the hot water. See, there's a fairly decent size difference. Hold on. Yes, I'm grabbing the wrong one. Here we go. Sorry about that. Look at see the hot water size difference? Still got the relief, union, union. There's a big difference here. Now here, the cold, there is not that much of a difference, but there is a difference. And we're going to get to that in a second. So this is Rinnai's valve kit. And this valve kit was supplied on some of the newer models, but of ways back. Now, he's got the union half on this one. The washer is built into, it's put onto this end of it, and it just sits in a little cup. So this one, if you have to remove, be careful that it doesn't drop and it rolls away. And it's always good to try to save some of these washers if you're removing and putting new on. Because remember, you do an RL, you're going to get a new valve kit. So try to save some of the washers. An old washer used is better than no washer. But now, here's something that I want to show between these two valve kits. Just say that you have a unit that we're going to take Texas, for example. They froze and broke, you got to put a new unit on. Well, you might be constricted to where the pipe comes out of the house, especially if it's an exterior or even an interior, and the bottom of the tankless. So you need some extra room. So you might benefit you to forego putting this back on and putting the smaller one back on. Because then you'll gain, it looks like you're going to gain about almost 3 inches. Enough that to pipe it back in if you have to rearrange the piping. So that's why we carry both of these. Well, we really carry this. So I don't carry this one. I carry the one that I'm going to show you now. Okay. So this is Rinnai's newer valve kit. On a lot of the newer RLs, you're going to get this. And here is your cold. So here is your hot. It's bigger. Again, if you notice, it's not as big as the original Rinnai. But then again, it's closer to the Flex, what was that again? Easyflex. But the beauty about this valve kit is that it's got a built-in union. There's no union half. So all you have to do is just put some compound, a little bit of tape, and that's what you're making up into the cold and hot water piping on the bottom of the tankless. And then your adapter. Then your hot water, same thing. With your relief, and it's got a union half. Now, the way I like to place these is here's your cold, and here's your hot. The way I like to place these, and now of course, this is the way it's situated. Your hot is always forward than the cold. Your cold is back. So that's the way I like to place these, just like this. And then you can get your hose on for servicing. Now, I know a lot of guys were like, well, what if I just put a valve on? Well, yeah, valves on hot and cold, you can shut down. But where's your service port? Okay, I'll put 2 T's with 2 hose bibs on it. Shut off the 2 valves, I got 2 hose bibs. This is very important. On a water heater, a tank style heater, you have a T&P relief valve, temperature and pressure. It's made so that that water heater doesn't become a rocket. And I have seen one that actually lifted up and smashed the beams in a basement. And not as a plumber, as a fireman. This is very important. It needs to be put on the hot water side. So now, You buy 2 good ball valves. You buy 2 T's, you buy 2 hose bibs, another T, and this relief valve, you're way over $100. Buy the valve kit. Get the valve kit. Even if it's one of those, it's still better. You still have the relief valve, and you still have the service ports, and it looks a lot neater. Okay? All right. The last valve kit. This valve kit you're going to find on the Sensei series, RUR series unit. Now, as you notice, the cold water is the same size, except you get on the one, this one here, let me get this hot water out here. It's in bubble wrap. Okay. The service valve it's handleless. It's got the little hex where you got to kind of get an open-end wrench or even a socket on it to open and close it. But it's the same size, union halves. This one's got the valve. Now you're going to find that when you initially turn, they come in the off position. And as you can see, so now I'm going to grab a pair of pliers. You need a pair of pliers to open your valve kits. You'll hear a pop. And then after that, they'll open and close without a problem. But you need the pair of pliers to initially open the valve kits. So now you have your hot. But now notice something on your hot. Where's the relief valve? On the RU series, the relief valve, let me just be careful because we don't want to lose the washer. The relief valve is separate. So on the RUR, or the RU, you have your cold water, then you hot, then you hot. You like that one? Then you're hot. Then in the middle, you're going to see a large male thread that this gets tightened on. And your relief valve is now actually part of the heat exchanger. Plus, your relief valve could be spun 360 degrees in whatever direction you want to put your pipe very neatly back to the wall and down. It comes with this tape. Now, inside of the the Sensei series, the RU, the RUR, this is in the box, in the styrofoam. It's going to be in your little bubble wrap, plastic over that. And then just be careful when you remove this tape. You see there's a plastic disc that's holding the washer in. Okay? Now, you just want to put a little bit of compound on the thread. You don't want to take your brush and brush it on, because you don't want compound to get up into there. Because if you take off the RUR series unit front cover and look, it's almost like a 1/8 inch tube that's coming down to a brass specially designed fitting that has 2 bolt holes in it that hold that in, and then you have this piece that goes through the chassis. So you don't want anything to get up in there and clog it. So just with your finger, just put a little bit of compound on the threads. Then when you tighten this up, be careful. Don't go nuts on it. Just once you get it tight by hand, just give it a turn. And you'll feel it, it'll be tight. The washer in there is what's really keeping it in there. And of course, get it into your position wherever you want it to, make your pipes look as neat as possible. And I just want to get this tape back on so we don't lose that washer. And then give it that little bit of a turn, because that is very important with not over tightening it, because you could crack the little plastic piece in there that's holding the, here, let me just take it apart again and show you. Because I've had quite a few questions on this. And if you crack this here, you're not going to get a good, it's not going to align right and get a good seal, and it's going to leak. All right, I actually, a service call I had where they were like, oh, the unit's leaking. So when I got there and I see what's leaking, and I'm like, you know, it was over tightened. Now, only thing is, you know, it's a standard relief valve. So it's the standard relief valve, but it's a special female elbow that they had designed. And it comes in the valve kit. So if you have to get a new one of these, you're getting you have to buy a whole new valve kit. Okay, so that is your valve kit. Again, with this now, you can now, again, you're going to have one forward, one back, like that, you know, like that. So now you can make this all nice and neat forward. And again, and now you can turn it just by finger. And if you ever notice, if you ever get a ball valve and you try to close it until it gets onto the piping, and then you have to put a lot of strength into it to close it, and you hear a pop, especially on like a shark bite valve, and the bigger the shark bite valve, the harder it is. It's like a vacuum. It creates like a vacuum in there, and that's what causes that to, I mean, you just can't do it with your hands. I tried it. They got to take a mini pair of channel locks and switch them out. All right, let me grab something here, because there's something I want to mention. And I have two little plastic bags. I got my little Rinnai parts boxes I just made over here. Okay. I have mentioned this. I'm going to actually leave this in the bag. Oh, let me grab one more thing. Sorry about that. Unprepared again. Here we go. Come on. All right. When you have the, let me just make sure I got the right one here. Yep. When you have the RUR 160 or RUR 199, come on. You're going to have, now this is not the right plug, but for demonstration purposes, you're going to have this, because this is going to be into there, and you have an O-ring on there just like your filter, and an O-ring here on the back. And this is going to be factory installed into the hot water side of the RUR 160 or 199. You're not going to find this in the RU. So, if you have a dedicated return line, separate pipe coming back from the farthest fixture, you're going to leave the factory installed plug-in. So this thing will be left in here, boom, up into your hot water side. If you're going to use the thermal bypass valve, now remember, one thermal bypass valve per house. That's the law. You can't put more than one in, just one. Remember, when you go to your customer's house, don't ask them what's their farthest fixture. Most likely that will be ask them what their most troublesome fixture is. Because it could be their kitchen, and they use it a lot. Or then again, it could be that farthest fixture. So, when you use the thermal bypass valve, only one per house, you need to remove this plug, take a pair of pliers, you're going to push and turn and pop it out. Then in this bag is in the bottom of the RUR. So when you cut the 4 straps and you pull the top of the box off, the styrofoam is going to fall out, and you're going to have the Wi-Fi on the ground. You're going to have the hot water, cold water, relief valve. You're going to have a bunch of stuff. But down in the bottom of the box, you're going to find a bag that has this, and you're going to have a bag that looks exactly like this. 2 O-rings and a filter. Make sure you take apart everything, because you're also going to have a bag with 2 little stainless steel screws that you're going to use to put into the vent if you use the 2-inch PVC. So you're going to take the filter out. You don't need the O-rings. You just take the filter, push it into, now the plug on that one is brown. This one is like blackish color. You're going to now, best thing for you to do is to take the plug, put it back, and I made the bag all shangad, put it back in the bag, seal it, take your filter, push it in, turn and click, goes just almost in similar to what the inlet water filter. Put it in and install it into your hot water side. With that, you're going to remove this with your fingers. You're going to put it back with your fingers. Okay? Don't go crazy with a pair of pliers. Just finger tight, Bob's your uncle. Then take this bag and either put it on a parts box in your truck, or when you open up the cover to set your parameters and to plug in your controller, put this inside of the unit. Because if somewhere down the line you decide, or the homeowner decides, that they want to repipe their house, and you're going to go through the trouble of going through the whole house and repiping it, well, you might as well run a dedicated return line, and now you'll be like, hey, I need a plug, but I put it inside the unit. Now you got it. Now you don't have to try to find one. Yeah, I mean, it's like $3 if you have to buy it, but still, if you got to order it, you got to wait. You put it inside, or like I have a dozen of them on my truck. If I need them, or I got a dozen filters, if for some reason there ain't one in the box, which I've never had, but just say a mouse grabbed it and ran away with it, we have them. And if we ever have to do a job like that, I mean, I run into jobs where, you know, hey, this system's not working. First thing I do, I start checking parameters. I go in, shut the water off, drain it down, take the thing off. They got the plug, no filter. All right, Mike, grab a plug, grab a filter off the truck, pop it off, put it back in, boom, Bob's your uncle. So that's what you have to remember to do. And again, and if for some reason you're going to leave the plug in, there's no reason really to leave the filter. Take the filter with you, because you're not going to take the return line out to put a thermal bypass in. So you'll have it. Also, which I ran into like 3 times, we ended up having to kill the dedicated return line because it was copper, it rotted and leaked. So we found it in the wall, we took out the T, we spliced in the hot, we took out the pipe in the mechanical room, and then we installed the thermal bypass valve, pulled out the plug, put the filter in, and they were back with a resuck system. Okay. We're going to do our first giveaway. We're going to do the Rinnai Guy channel first giveaway. When I did that video last week about what to do when you call Rinnai tech support, and I showed this phone holder that I have, my wife has one when she's doing her, like if she's making something with a recipe and it's on her phone, she has it in the kitchen. I have one in my studio where I do my podcast and whatever editing, and I have one on my truck. Well, we're going to give one of these away to a subscriber. What you're going to do, we're going to go for 4 videos. So this video and 3 more, so 1 month. In whoever puts a comment in, and I've done this with Mike's Woodshop, and when we hit 10,000 views, I will be giving something away for the Rinnai guy. But with Mike's Woodshop, when I did well, I did 5,000 views, which I forgot for this one. Sorry. But when we hit the 10,000, 15,000, and like every 5,000, I give something away. And the more and more, I give something bigger and bigger. And the way we do it is for 30 days in the 4 videos, you put a comment in. It could be anything. Or you just put a question. Whoever puts something into a comment or an email, we write down your either YouTube name or your name. My daughter will do that, and we put it on a strip of paper, and we put it in a box. And we have the box. We're going to use the box that we use for Mike's Woodshop. And in 30 days, on the video, so on the 5th video, I'm going to put my hand in and draw a name out. And whosever name it is, if I happen to have your email, I'll email you. But if, you know, of course, if it's a comment, I'm going to have to, you know, contact you. You're going to email me with your mailing address, and I'm going to mail this out to you. So it's a little thing, because I got so many questions, and that's so cool, and who sells it? And Home Depot discontinued it. But I know the manager there very well, and the last time I was in Home Depot, I asked him if he could check to see if they had any more, and he had one. So when I was there this morning, I got it from him. So, and it was dusty. I had to clean this thing off big time. So this will be the Rinnai guy's first giveaway. And I don't know, for those of you that noticed my new little toy back there in the background, for those of you that follow me on the Mike's Woodshop, that is the Shaper Origin. That is the handheld CNC machine, which I will be unveiling actually as soon as we're done here on Mike's Woodshop, and then I will be doing a video on actually a sign I'm going to make. So for those of you that follow me on Mike's Woodshop, stay tuned for that. All right, YouTube, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, man, I am blown away with my wife is like, she can't believe the comments that you guys have been putting in. Thank you. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. So, and thank you for the subscribers. I did my analytics, and since August to, well, Friday, yesterday, we're up 3,167 subscribers. And that's a lookup channel, man. I think that's great. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. All right. You all have a happy Thanksgiving. And I think this is your last day of Passover. Yes, I think it is. Happy Passover. And please be safe out there. And I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.